I do have skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Alright guys, how the fuck are you? It is the 12th, exactly 1 month since they issued me the infringement notice for the $60 parking saga, and this is part 3. So I had sent them correspondence, as you saw in part 2, asking for either proof of the authority, jurisdiction and claim, telling them the burden of proof is on them, telling them that under my rights as a person charged I require a court hearing, and you know, I requested a court hearing, I elected for a court hearing, and this is their response. Thank you for your correspondence about the infringement notice. After reviewing your explanation and the reasons for the ticket, we have decided to proceed with the enforcing the fee. They're not enforcing a fine, they're enforcing a fee. Reasons for the ticket: it is an offence to park in an area marked with a broken yellow line. This includes stopping briefly while the engine's running. Does it? You might point out that, or you might remember in part 2, I point out where the car was. I pointed out the yellow hockey sticks that are still marking that car parking space, and the fact that there's controversy there between the signage and what's actually written, because there's a white hockey stick boxed car park, or 3 of them, plus there's also loading zones and stuff marked, and they haven't removed the white markings yet, so there's some sort of controversy there. Perhaps if they actually got their shit together properly and removed the white lines, they could issue parking on a yellow line, but that's not the case. The relevant legislation is the Land Transport Road User Rule 2006, Part 6.4. Okay, so that is what I believe they're trying to tell me is the cause and nature. What you need to do: if you do not accept this decision, you can request a court hearing by completing and enclosing the enclosed court hearing request. I don't need to fill that out, because what I have done is I've requested a court hearing already. I requested a court hearing 13 days after the infringement was issued, and 1 day after I was notified about it. So I've already requested a court hearing. If they can't provide me the evidence, give me a hearing. So they've completely ignored that. If we do not receive a completed form or payment, we may advise a debt collection agency to recover the unpaid fee. So they're not going to go through with the court process? Because this, as you saw in part 2, they're asking me to fill this out, or they're going to go through debt recovery. But there's no evidence that there's no liability. There's no liability order to recover debt. It's not a court fine that a court collection agency with more powers than a normal private debt collection agency can do. It's not like they're court bailiffs coming around to collect a court fine payment. No, this is an unverified and unsubstantiated claim by showing me the photograph that I sent them, which I got off of the website. Note: if you have received a reminder notice, payment must be made by the date shown above. Alternatively, you will be served with a reminder notice which will give you a further 28 days to either dispute or pay the infringement. There is no dispute. I accepted their claim for value provided they could establish evidence. If they can't do that, let's go to court. So this little form here, it's not like the booklet it's similar to the booklet I downloaded, but it gives you 2 options available to you, or 3, sorry. 1, pay the infringement fee without additional charges. 2, request for a court hearing, guilty plea, Or 3, request for a hearing not guilty plea. Well, what about requesting to be fully informed of the cause and nature and having them explain to me what it is in layman's terms, not referring to legislation which I don't speak, and it's not up for me to go and get lawyers to tell me what this language is. They're the ones making the claim. They can tell me what their interpretation of this is. Alright? They might as well have sent it to me in Japanese. On this single little page strip paper here, it tells you there's the kicker question here is vehicle registration number, were you the driver, yes or no? So right there they're trying to compel you to confess. You're not obliged to tell them that information. It's for them to prove it. Or I would like A, please, and it tells you to tick one option. Plead guilty. Do you wish to appear in court for sentencing? So you're already pleading guilty and fuck it, let's just go slam a bit more sentence on me. Or plead not guilty to the offences above. Well, what offences above? There's no offence listed here. Or they expect me to write down the offence details, the infringement notice number. Not going to happen. And then they want me to sign it and date it, cut it off and send it back to them by post. You can visit the AT website for paying. You can post your payment and credit card. This is all about fucking money, eh? In person during normal business hours, please take it any post shop, Kiwibank or BNZ branch. Not going to happen either. So what I'm going to do, given it's just after 5:30, I'm going to give these twats a call and ask them, do they not understand English, and the fact that I've already requested a court hearing, and the fact that I've requested a court hearing means they now go and file it and send me a court summons or drop the subject, because there's no way they can collect from a debt collection agency if proof of the actual thing hasn't been established. Why offer the court process at all if you're just going to say, well, we'll just go to debt collection? Do you get what I'm saying? They're using a private debt collection to enforce a criminal offence. No, you don't get to mix that up. The phone number is 09 355 3553.
Transport. Please select one of the following 3 options. For inquiries about buses, trains, ferries and hop cards, please press 1. For parking and infringement inquiries, press 2.
Parking, you're Adrian, how can I help you?
Sorry, what was your name, sir?
My name's Adrian, how can I help you?
Adrian, hi, how are you?
Hi, very good.
I received some correspondence from Auckland Transport on the 24th of October in regards to an infringement notice.
Yeah.
On
The number, please.
The infringement number?
Number?
Yeah, it is 3066 243 825.
And your name, please?
Mark.
What's your last name, Mark?
My family's last name is Keane.
How do you spell it?
K-E-E-N.
Double E?
Yeah,
Mark Key, right?
correct.
Okay, I'll have a look for you, Mark.
Thank you.
It's Mark Keen, right? Okay, I'll just read out the letter to you. Hold on a minute.
What letter are you referring to?
I'll just tell you. So, you wrote to them on the 29th of October, right?
On the 25th of October, I sent in some correspondence, yeah, and
Right. And they sent you a letter on the 3rd of November.
yeah, I've just received that today in my hand, which
Oh,
is,
you received that letter. Okay, how can I help you regarding that?
well, I'm wondering as to why I haven't got a court hearing. Because on my letter on the 25th of October, and I'll read you the third paragraph, we believe Auckland Transport Transport have made this allegation an error. Therefore, we formally elect and or request a court hearing to discuss this matter. So, it's kind of confusing for me, for you guys.
Okay, I'll just read the letter. I haven't opened the letter, Mark. I just know.
Yeah, because I haven't given an explanation or a reason. I've asked Auckland Transport for evidence, and if not, a court hearing. So,
Okay, hold on. Just one second. Just let me read the letter.
thank you.
Thank you for Auckland. We're back in Mark. Running. So in other words, we are telling you to, giving you a choice either pay it or do in other words, this thing, either you pay the $60 or request a court hearing.
I've done that. That's what I'm saying. On the letter that I sent on the 24th of October to you guys,
Right.
I've requested a court hearing. The one thing it appears to me that I haven't done is filled out your dinkly little leaflet here requesting a court hearing, where it also tries to derive a confession.
Okay. So
Because
what you could do is to write back.
Yeah?
I'll give you the email address. You can write to basically to. But one second, I just keep anything else I can.
Well, I want a court hearing, and I've already asked for that formally in writing. So for you guys to seem to have ignored that and then send me a form telling me to fill this out, and one of the questions on this form is asking me to confess guilt, and that's a breach of the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act, section 24. Section 25C. I cannot be compelled to confess guilt or become a witness. So why on earth Auckland Transport is asking me if I was the driver or not? It's not for me to speak. It's for Auckland Transport to provide evidence that I was the driver.
Right. So it is the offence was marked by a broken yellow line. Have you checked Mark, have you checked it online, the photograph online?
That's the very first thing I did, and those photographs online were actually supplied in the letter that I sent you guys back. I would also point out that it's not just broken yellow lines, it also has white hockey sticks marking a white car park with a P90 sign outside it as well. So what I believe has happened is Warden number 1126 has gone into the Auckland Courthouse, or Waitakere District Court, where I've been recording outside of, and been told by the court security to come out and issue me a ticket, and he did that from 15 metres away underneath Waitakere District Court's concave. He did not do it from so I seriously want to have this man on the stand so I can ask him some questions.
Okay, I'll give you an email address you can write to. I have to tell you what the process is.
Well, I would just want it on record from you now that I've already formally requested a court hearing, and that I'm now doing it.
Hold on, just give me a second. I'll just put that in the note as well.
Because there's also something else you guys should note, that on that photograph that you're talking about there, and there were two photographs, you've only supplied me one in the letter, that on that photograph, and you can see the little cabbage tree on the right hand side of the photo, so you can see he's 15 metres away from the vehicle. That you can also see directly above the registration tag on the front of the windscreen is another notice. On that notice, it is informing any government agency, or i.e. Auckland Transport, that if you choose to issue an infringement notice for my private mode of conveyance, that I charge $75 for administration fee. So I need to know an accounts receivable address to contact to send a bill to Auckland Transport, because I don't do this stuff for free. You guys have chosen to enter into a tacit agreement with me by issuing that notice. It's clearly on my windscreen saying that if you issue me a notice, I charge for processing it, and I'm perfectly within my rights to do so. So
can I give you an email address, Mark, right to?
Sure.
The context is it's infringements. Normally how we spell infringements.
Sure.
At alphatango.gov.nz.
Okay.
Infringements at AT.
Yeah, it's all right. I record these calls as well as you. So.
These calls are recorded, and I'm telling you the email address you can write to contest what you've said. You need to put it in writing, obviously.
Well, that's what I've already done, and you.
Right.
which is, so if I do that again in a month's time, am I going to get sent another threat for? And I'm kind of curious, how can you honestly go to a debt collection agency with skipping the court process? Because it's threatening to send a, we may advise a debt collection agency to recover the unpaid fee.
No, I'll tell you what the process is, Mark. First, if you don't pay it after the due date, which is 13th of November, it will go to bake-off. So if it's not going to bake-off...
Why would it go to... Sure.
Let me explain the process to you.
Yes, please.
The first, the notice was issued on the 12th of October. It is valid to the 13th of November. After that, you get another 28 days to pay it. It's an extended date. If you don't pay it by 56th day, then it is sent to bake-off, not now.
So why doesn't it go... So, sorry, I just pause you there. Why doesn't it go to the court process for a fine?
You can short circuit and go straight to the court, but that is also possible. But the standard process, it first goes to bake-off, but doesn't go to bake-off now. You go after 28 days. So now, like the 30th of November is like 28 days.
Yeah.
And after that, you get another 28 days. They can send you a reminder notice saying, hey, you haven't paid the fine. Please pay it on the 28 days given to you. Now,
sure.
It goes past the 56 days. Then it gets sent to bake-off, not now.
Mm-hmm.
You still have 28 days more to contest it.
Well, this is the point. I'm not contesting anything. I'm staying in honour. I'm accepting Auckland Transport's claim, provided they can supply me evidence that Mark Donald Eric Keane was the driver of the vehicle.
Right.
Now, if I could just finish, because what Auckland Transport tends to do, and it's the same with speed camera tickets as well, is that you use Section 133 of the Land Transport Act, where it is presumed that the registered owner is the driver of the vehicle. Okay, that's a presumption in law that the registered owner is the driver, and that's why you send the tickets to the driver, or to the registered owner. But it's not for the registered owner to confess. It's not for me to say I wasn't driving the vehicle or I was driving the vehicle. It's for Auckland Transport to prove their claim to me. Now, if you can't prove it, if you haven't got an eyewitness or a statement saying that they saw Mark Donald Eric Keane driving that vehicle, then you've got a problem. Now, as I was saying, in your little request form for a court hearing here, you're asking, were you the driver? Aren't you? Yeah, so if I'm to tick either yes or no, that's saying, that's asking me to give a confession. It's not for me to confess. I have the right to remain silent. It is for Auckland Transport to prove their claim. And that's why I am asking already for a court hearing. So if I will not be filling out this request form, because it is asking me to confess, and it is a breach of my Bill of Rights, 1999, Section 25C.
Okay, understand. So I've got a photograph open, Mark, on my screen.
Sure, you can see the photo there. You see the little dot.
I can see the photo here. Very clearly.
You see the wiper, where the wiper blade is. Underneath the wiper blade is the registration tag.
Right.
And above the wiper blade is a notice informing any government agency, if they choose to issue a PCN or any infringement charge notice to that private mode of conveyance, you are accepting a tacit agreement and agreeing to pay $75 to me for processing it. So who do I send the bill to?
Oh, sorry, I didn't quite follow you. So you think when they take a photograph of the vehicle?
No, you've issued a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by issuing that ticket, and it's in clear view on the windscreen there. I'm giving you notice. I'm giving the warden notice. Surely he should have read that, but he didn't, because he was 15 metres away, under another building's canopy from the rain. The reason I know that is because I have a witness that watched him issue that ticket while there was somebody also in the vehicle.
Right. So what I'm asking you, Mark, is that you wrote the notice and put it on the windscreen, right?
Well, the car's got noticing displaying, telling that there's an administration fee if a ticket is issued to it. And the fact that you've gone ahead and chosen to issue...
Who wrote that note for the car? Who wrote that note on the car?
The owner.
Oh, but you're the owner, right?
Correct. Well, yes.
Oh, you're the owner.
Yeah.
So you wrote that notice and put it on the windshield. Saying that
It's on the windscreen, and it's also on the rear window.
Yeah, and it says if you do issue a notice, what happens to you?
It says, if any government... I'll read the notice to you if you like. I'll just try and find a copy of it here for you. It basically says, I'll send a copy into that email address for you as well, so you can see that you've... Basically it means if you issue a notice, you're agreeing to my terms to process that notice.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
You know, same as if you need the... Like, you've paid the motor vehicle register $15 to find out my details, or you've used PinForce to find my details of the registered owner. Okay? But the registered owner is not liable. Liable means upon conviction. Until I'm convicted, I am innocent. And it has to be in a court of law to be found guilty. Now you're asking if I'm the driver because you're trying to get me to confess being the driver of the vehicle at that time on that day.
Right.
Okay? Now, I mean, I'm happy to supply the driver's details, but of course, I don't do anything for free. If you guys want to give me someone to contact, I'll send you an invoice for supplying those details. You've paid the motor vehicle register $15 to find it out, so you can pay me if you want to know who the driver is.
So
But
you put all that in the email address I've given you, and this will go straight to the adjudication team.
Okay. Yep, well, I can do that again, but I will not be filling out this request for a hearing form because, I'm happy to fill out the relevant information, but there won't be any confession being done on it.
What you can do, alternatively, you've called rather late, so if you can call tomorrow between 9 and 5, we can put you straight to the parking adjudication team and you can speak to them.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's it.
Of course, I mean, writing is fine, but they also have the option of speaking face-to-face with them.
Oh, brilliant. Because,
So
I mean...
So you call between 9 because they work only till 5 p.m.
No, I understand that. Thank you,
So
Adrian.
you can call them and ask them specifically, I'd like to speak to the parking adjudication team. That is the term we got to use.
Sure, I can do that.
Parking adjudication team.
Yep.
And they put you on to the people who actually make the decisions. Now, I don't make a decision, I only work in a call center.
Just as a matter...
The people who actually make those decisions.
Sure. You couldn't tell me who it is that's actually signed that letter on the 3rd of November, could you?
It's signed by...
Because normally when I sign something, I print my name, and there's no name printed. It's just an electronic signature. So I'd like to know the name of who wrote this letter. Who's liable for sending me this?
I don't know. The head of the team is somebody called Lee Jenkins. It could be her.
No, it looks like the last name is Day or Doy. But again, that's why people are supposed to print their name as well as sign, isn't it? I mean,
It could be one of the infringement adjudicators. It could be any one of them because normally Lee Jenkins is the head of that department.
Yeah, well, it's still, I know that if you're going to sign anything, you should also print your name so people can read who it is that's signing, because not all signatures are legible, are they? And a justice of the peace wouldn't just sign it without their name printed. All right, I'll ring tomorrow and I'll get something sent through to that email address that you've supplied, Adrian.
Also, I mentioned that in the conversation with the parking adjudication team that you sent that letter.
Yep, I'll sort that out. Not a problem. Thank you very much, Adrian. You have a pleasant evening, eh?
Same to you, sir.
Bye-bye. That's what you call politely handing them their ass. So, fair enough. Like I said, it's after 5:30 at night. I've just brought up the whole points. He's telling me I want to dispute it. There isn't a dispute. This is what court systems run on. Disputes, arguments, confrontations. I'm being honourable. I'm accepting everything for value, provided they can back their claim with some evidence. They've shown me a picture of a car I'm a registered owner to. They haven't shown me a picture of me being the fucking driver at the time, and yet they want to fee or fine me. Well, what about going after the other registered owner? There's two of them, So, interesting track. I'm getting a little too much energy drink today, so I'm getting a little bit shaky. Bit of an adrenaline rush there from talking to them, because it really does make my, makes my blood boil. because as you've said, or as I've said, they don't have the right to ask you to confess, and that's exactly what this does. Same with the online process as well. If they say, well, go online and fill out the online, one of the questions is, are you the driver? You have the right to shut the fuck up, stay in honour, challenge them, because they are the fuckers making the claim. If I said I saw a pink elephant, every fucker would be looking at me to provide the evidence of it. Alright? That's how it works. They say the registered owner, Mark Donald Eric Keane, parked that vehicle there on that date. It's really simple. Prove it. And I'll get that notice that's in the windscreen highlighted for them too, and ask them for an accounts payable team who to send the invoice to. It's a $75 administration charge. You know, I don't go through all of this process when they choose to dish out a ticket for nothing. I've got better things to do with my time. Time is money. Time is valuable. It's irreplaceable. It's priceless. You can't ever get it back. Enough of my ramble, guys. Catch you later.
On fire, 'cause they lit the spark.